positive learning experience in which is the club mission. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which our members are empowered to enhance their communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence, personal growth, and achievement of their Toastmaster goals and those of personal growth leaders Toastmasters Club. Thank you, everyone, and hope you'll enjoy this meeting. And I'm going to pass to you, Teresa. Over to you, distinguished Toastmaster Teresa.
Thank you very much, Rosie, and thanks everyone for stepping up to do the roles. Today our theme is Keep It Simple, and I believe that Somesh will be talking a little bit about keeping it simple. And the word of the day is languid. So we'll have to just, I'll take a look and put something on the chat while Somesh is speaking for the word languid. Means soft or slow, or with just setting back and being no movement, just meditating. So keeping it simple, that's what it's all about in life. And we don't have to get too uptight about anything. Let's just move with the flow, which is being a languid sort of person. And our Toastmaster for today is our club founder. And we know that Somesh has done so much in his Toastmaster career and in his career, in his life's work. So please welcome our distinguished Toastmaster, Somesh Kumar, to be our Toastmaster today.
Thank you very much, Teresa. So this is the theme today is keep it simple. And that is something that is very difficult. It's easier said than done. The reason is because one of the things is if you're explaining something to some person, some new concept to some person, what they say is you have to explain it in such a way that as if you're explaining to a 5-year-old kid. And if that 5-year-old kid can understand what you're saying, then anyone else can understand what you're saying. So keeping it simple is not easy. We can see this, especially when we are talking to kids as well, really, because sometimes they would ask some questions which would be so simple question, but we would never have thought about it. And then we suddenly start thinking, how should I answer this question? So this is something that we can learn from kids, actually, I would say, keeping it simple, because that's what they are about. They're inquisitive and they want to keep it simple. And let us try and do that in our meeting today. There is an acronym as well, I think. I've heard that acronym before. It's called KISS. Keep it short and simple. So interesting one anyway. So now we go to the next part of the program, which would be, so we do it in the PI way, the prepared speeches, impromptu speaking, and then the evaluation. So we've got 2 speeches lined up for today's program. The first one is by our founding member as well, Anvita Hegde, and it is from Dynamic Leadership Level 1, Writing a Speech with a Purpose. And the title of the project is Master Secret. Master Secret, Anvita Hegde.
What is the master secret of the universe? Atomic energy, interplanetary travel, black holes? No, none of these. The answer is very simple, like today's theme. It is the marvelous power of our mind. This is the last place most people would look for it, which is the reason very few find it. Good day, Toastmasters. When I was 6 years old, I accidentally fell into a swimming pool. I flailed my arms, gasped for air. I can still remember the terror as I was surrounded with water. I sank deeper and thought I was going to die. I couldn't even shout for help as my mouth was filled with water. I heard a flashing sound. A pair of hands lifted me up. Stay calm. It's going to be all right. Everything will be fine. Breathe. A soothing voice said. It was my aunt who had jumped to rescue me. Everything was fine indeed. I was alive. But the experience sank deep into my mind. Whenever I saw water, I was bombarded with thoughts of drowning. The irrational fear of water stayed with me for several years. When I was 16 years old, my class teacher forced me to join a swimming class to overcome my fear. I was languid in the class. For the first 2 days, I did not even place my feet in the water. I was that scared. On the third day, my coach took me to the water. She told me to touch it and said, Anvita, water is just 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. It doesn't have a mind of its own. But you do. How can it harm you? You're right, I said. I saw the other swimmers swimming graciously like a fish. I could see only joy on their faces, no stress or anxiety. When they can swim so effortlessly, why can't I? I wonder. I can. Yes, I can. I will. By repeating to myself that I can, I turned my self doubt into self belief. From the fourth day onwards, I began to learn how to swim. By the end of 2 months, I had mastered the water. I did not allow the water to master me. As Henry Ford said, if you think you can, you can. If you think you cannot, you are right. It's all in the mind. Our mind is a wonderful organ. It starts functioning the moment we are born and does not stop till we are called on the stage to deliver a speech. It happens a lot to me, especially in the table topic session. Public speaking is said to be the biggest fear of many. Some people prefer to be in their own coffin than give a eulogy at a funeral. I hated the stage till I joined Toastmasters. Whenever I went on, I thought, look at the audience. They seem clever. What if I make a fool of myself? What if I go blank? What if they laugh at me? All these negative thoughts made me avoid the stage. 3 years ago, my manager called me to his chamber and said, Anvita, I have told you to give presentation several times, but you have declined it. You do not speak up during meetings. If this continues, you're not going to get a promotion. And change, I promised. That evening, I called the VP membership of BG Toastmasters Club, Bangalore, and enrolled as a member. However, for the first 6 months, I only took up minor roles like Archonter, grammarian, timer, and listener. But in the 7th month of my Toastmasters journey, the strict VP education called me and said, Anvita, you have to give a speech. What are you doing in Toastmasters? You're just wasting your money and time. I got scared of her. Just to please her, I took up a speech slot and delivered an icebreaker speech. As soon as the timer showed the green card, like our timer is showing now, I ran away from the stage. I did not even conclude my speech. It was an abrupt end. Yet, my fellow Toastmasters gave me a huge round of applause. Some of them even came to me and said that I can speak. I can. Yes, I can. By telling it to myself repeatedly, I delivered my second speech a week later. Within a span of 8 months, I had completed my first part. My fear was only in my mind. Now I have turned something I feared into something I enjoy. It's all in the mind. Dear Toastmasters, is there any life change you need to make or you would like to make? Are you paralyzed with fear to do it? Is your fear stopping you from achieving all your goals? Fret not. Your fear is not real. It's all in the mind. Our mind is a treasure house from which we can extract everything we want to lead a happy life. That is the master secret. It can make a hell of heaven and a heaven of hell. It's all in the mind. Back to DTM Somish.
Huge round of applause to Anmita for a great speech. One thing that I can vouch for about the speech is it was not languid at all. Right. Okay, so now we go to the next speech of this program, which would be by DTM Kaushal Gupta. The title of the speech is From Knowledge to Power, a book review. It is from Persuasive Influence Level 1, Evaluation and Feedback number 2 project. From Knowledge to Power, a book review, Kaushal Gupta.
Climate science is complex, really complex. But I've read a book that makes it simple to understand. The title of the book is From Knowledge to Power, the comprehensive handbook for climate science and advocacy. My copy of the book is electronic, so I'm showing you a printout of the cover. I'll put more information about it in the chat in case you're interested in it. The author of the book is this man, Dr. John Perona. He has earned several advanced degrees and is not only a teacher of environmental chemistry, but also an environmental activist. Why do I love his book so much? It's rich with charts, diagrams, sidebars, and research. In fact, it has 40 pages of endnotes. Not that you have to read the endnotes. I didn't, but I mention it because it shows how well researched the book is. It really lives up to that comprehensive part of its title, but it's still readable and accessible, and it has something for everyone. Even the most climate conscious activist will learn a lot about how our climate works, which portions of the greenhouse effect are natural and which are human caused. And the author explains all the inputs, outputs, and variables, and the extent to which the science is certain about them. The Earth's climate is fascinating and mind-bogglingly complex. The book delves into paleoclimatology. Now, what does that word mean? Paleo means prehistoric. Climatology is the study of weather. So paleoclimatology is the study of Earth's weather going back billions of years. I was stunned to learn about Milankovitch cycles. Milankovitch cycles are gravitational forces from the moon, the sun, other planets, and even the moons of other planets. These Milankovitch cycles affect the tilt of the Earth's axis and therefore our climate. Think about that. Even the distant moons of Jupiter may have an effect on our weather. That's obviously a natural influence on our climate. But more importantly, the book goes into the human influences on our climate, and it's sobering news. We have more carbon dioxide in our atmosphere than we've had in millions of years. We have truly taken our planet into uncharted territory. We have been pulling fossil fuels out of the ground and burning them in high volumes since about the year 1850. Burning fossil fuels releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. That carbon dioxide stays in the atmosphere for a long, long time, which is why the greenhouse effect is worsening so rapidly. Some people might say, well, eventually we're going to run out of fossil fuels, right? So there's no reason to stop burning them. Let's just keep burning fossil fuels until we run out, and then we'll just be forced to switch to clean energy, right? Well, I've got news for you. That news may sound good, but it's actually very bad. And here's that news. We are nowhere close to running out of fossil fuels. Nowhere close. If we decide to just keep burning fossil fuels until they run out, well, I can't imagine what the environment will look like then. I don't even know whether human life could still exist in that situation. But here's what I do know. We need to force ourselves to stop using fossil fuels. We need to leave fossil fuels in the ground forever to have any hope of saving ourselves from disastrous climate change. Scientists have been urging us to act so that we could avoid a global temperature increase of 1.5 degrees Celsius. We have been ignoring the scientists, so it may be too late now to avoid a 1.5 degree increase. As you can see from the news, people all over the world are suffering the consequences. However, if we act drastically and quickly enough, we may be able to prevent an increase beyond 2.0 degrees Celsius. Even though 2.0 degrees would still have painful and long-term consequences, if we can keep it to just 2.0, that would allow the United States to save 1.4 million lives over the next 20 years and $700 billion in healthcare expenditure and productivity loss. $700 billion. That's more than it would cost to make the necessary energy transition. So converting to clean energy would not just save many lives, it makes economic sense too. The author also talks about how climate change denialists have prevented us from taking action by raising false doubts about the science, even though the science only gets better every year. Furthermore, science is improving at tying certain disasters to human-caused climate change. For example, we have found what the author calls human fingerprints on the 2017 Hurricane Harvey in Texas, the 2019 tropical storm Imelda in Texas, the 2020 Australian heat wave, and the recent droughts in the American Southwest. We have enough data to show that these events were made more likely or more severe by human activities. The book also covers subjects like climate roadmaps, the practical benefits and limitations of various types of activism, and the outlook for each type of energy. There's so much more in this book that is approachable while having the rigor of a textbook. And when you remove the endnotes, the book is only 250 pages long. For those who already realize that climate change is a real problem that we need to act on now, this book will help them understand the problem even better. For those who respect science but still have their doubts about climate change, this book should clear those doubts. For climate change denialists, this book will probably do no good, but as the author says, you may be able to persuade them to support environmental policies with religious or economic arguments. That's why I love this book, From Knowledge to Power, the comprehensive handbook for climate science and advocacy. I encourage you to read the book and become an activist for the environment, for the sake of all of us and our children. Mr. Toastmaster.
A huge round of applause to Kaushal for a very interesting topic that had every one of us glued on to what he was talking about. Thank you so much, Kaushal, for sharing the book review. Now we go to the next part of our program, which is the impromptu speaking. And then to lead us in the impromptu speaking with topics, I would like to hand over our virtual gavel to table topics master of this meeting, Kathy Draper. Over to you, Kathy.
I got my gavel. Okay, since we have kind of a small group today, I'm going to pick on those of us that are not working on evaluations first. Unless you're through. Are you through with your evaluations already, Somesh? Okay. But I'm good. So Rosie, do you think you could handle timing and doing okay. I know that you're a professional, you can handle that. But I want to give the evaluators time to work on their evaluations. Okay, what shall we do? We'll keep it simple today. If you
Okay.
can be, I'm sorry.
Okay, good.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard hearing voices. If you can be any age again for 1 week, what age would that be and why?
Wow. Thank you, table topic master, Kathy. Well, if I my younger age, what age I want to be? Well, yeah, this is kind of tricky question. What age? I probably wouldn't go back to any age. I would, that is a good age of while I was starting working around 24 or 23 to invest in probably in not only in saving or something that would grow, but also in property investment. What in fact I did, every time I got a bonus from my banking job, I would buy a property. In fact, at that point of time, I would buy a property. Oh, sorry about that. Property. And then before I got married, I already got 3 properties on my name. But after I got married, I was thinking that my husband bought a house, the house that I'm currently living. So I was thinking that, yeah, I'm not investing anymore. I'm just going to put all my money into savings and let it grow for retirement. So I guess the point where I would advise myself would be at 23 years old, where I started working to actually invest my money into some kind of things that would grow by itself. And I did, and which I think if I were to advise myself then to actually to save more also for retirement, but at the same time enjoy and let the money grow, sort of to make it into one chunk which I can enjoy the dividend, which I am planning to do it right now. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Back to you.
Excellent, excellent, great answer. And Vitha, would you like to do a table topic?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to give you a silly one. And this is about keeping it simple, kind of if you go back to it. When you look at a big task, they tell you to approach it like you're eating an elephant, one bite at a time. If you were doing that, which end of the elephant do you start with and why?
Should I start from the top or the bottom or from the middle? This seems like $1 million question. Not simple at all. Good day, Toastmasters. I have faced several situations in life where I had to face $1 million questions, such as the one which Kathy asked me. For example, 3 months ago, my manager gave me a particular task to do. Now, in order to complete the task, I had to ask others' opinion. I was confused as to whose opinion I need to ask first, whether I need to ask it to the director of the entire team who takes important decisions, or the intern who actually works on the project. Now, if I ask the topmost director, then he'll feel happy that I'm giving him a lot of importance and he'll suggest a particular thing. But his solution may not work when I'm doing the actual job. Now, if I ask the intern who has a complete idea about the project, then they may give the actual solution. But then I may offend the director by not taking his opinion. I thought about it a lot. Either I'm going to offend one person or the other. What do I do? That's why I called a meeting of all the relevant stakeholders. Both the director and the interns were present. We brainstormed and arrived at a solution. When I began to implement it, along with the solution which they gave, I added my own creativity, my own touch, and I tweaked the solution to meet the project requirement. As a result, the task was completed. Everyone were happy. Coming back to the problem of the elephant, I would take the elephant to a place where a lot of people can feast on it. Then I would tell them to eat whichever part they like because obviously I can't eat the whole elephant. Sharing is caring. Back to the table topic master.
And so you envy that you answered that excellent. Sharing is caring. I wonder what elephant tastes like. Anyway, maybe it tastes like chicken. That's what I heard with alligator, so I don't know. Okay, next up, Kaushal. What annually televised sporting event is an absolute must-see for you? Personally, I have to watch the Super Bowl, but only if my teams are in it. But that's your question.
Madam Topic Master and fellow Toastmasters, these days, the only time I would watch a sporting event is if a band I liked was playing in the Super Bowl halftime show. I used to, however, be a big fan of baseball, especially watching the Chicago Cubs. Now, it may be strange to enjoy watching such a language sport as baseball. It is slow, and the matches go on for hours. Sometimes it just feels like you've been watching people just stand and look at each other for 10 minutes without doing anything. And yet, those long, languid moments make the exciting ones so much more powerful. When someone steals a base, when when a pitcher who has a low batting average scores an unexpected home run. It's those little unexpected moments that baseball fans live for. And even just talking about it makes me wonder, maybe I should get back into watching baseball. Madam Topic Master.
Thank you so much. You know, the only baseball games I've ever been to, I used to live in Texas, so I've gone to the Texas Rangers games a few times. I actually, when it comes to baseball, I prefer watching it in person rather than on TV. But as you were talking, it also made me think about how much harder the work is for basketball and baseball players compared to football players. I mean, we're talking about American football, just to clarify, since we're in an international audience. But football only has 14 games a year, whereas baseball players do that in a month, easily. I mean, they travel a lot more, and basketball players do too. They travel and play a lot more than football players. So anyway, thank you for a great answer to that question, even though you're not really that much into sports. Next up will be Somesh. If you are ready done with your evaluation. Let's see. If you travel back in time to meet anybody in your family's history, to get advice or just to talk to, who would that be?
Thank you very much, Madam Topics Master, for a very thought-provoking question, really. I would actually say it would be, it's not going too far. I'm actually just going to my grandfather, actually. And he probably would have taken me and all as well, I would say. Like, I think there is some pictures as well with him, but I would have been very small, during that time, few months or something. So I wouldn't have been able to really associate with him and understand him as an adult would understand. So I would say that would be the thing. The reason is because I think what I've heard from my father was that he was really kind of selfless kind of person, in terms of what he was doing. And that's very rare, I think, in terms of the current society that we live in. I think it's all unfortunately based on us doing something so that, we get something back in return. And that's natural human tendency as well. It's human condition that we do something so that we get something back in return. But the way I've heard from my father about him was that he was in such a situation, like even if it was not financially viable, he was still doing things that were more like a service to the society rather than trying to ask for something in return. So I would like to understand that mentality more. I would go back and because it's very rare to have that mentality. And I would say the real happiness actually lies there. Ironically, the real happiness would lie in selfless work. With that, over to you, Madam Topics Master.
Thank you so much. And this question had me thinking that with my family, I'd love to go back to my great grandmother who would have come here from where you live now. That side of my family is from County Cork, and it would be interesting to know more about their adventure. I mean, they've long passed now, but it would be interesting to know more about their journey to the US. Last but not least is Miss Teresa. Where's my question that I had for you? It's not a hard one. I just wanted to read it again. Okay. If you could fly in a hot air balloon over any city in the world, what city would you choose and why?
Madam Table Topics, fellow Toastmasters. That is such a hard decision for such a languid person like me, who just loves every place I have visited. As soon as you said the question, Paris was the first answer. Then it was Venice. And then I thought, oh no, I want to go over the Maldives, making sure that Fatima gets off her plane today. And then I thought, oh, Kansas, because I had to see the Yellow Brick Road or whatever, because that's what I think of you. I know that it's far away. And of course, Ireland and India, all of the places that we all represent here in the United States, Canada, and overseas. But if I had to pick one, I think it would be Paris. My very first thought, because Paris is the city of lights. It's the city that is just so beautiful, has so many things to offer. And I would be watching from my heights all of the people just languidly walking along the Seine or picnicking somewhere in the Bois de Cologne, just enjoying their time. That's what Paris is to me. It's not hustle bustle. I wouldn't be looking at the Champs-Élysées with with the beautiful trees, but all that traffic, because I have in my mind what Paris is all about. And up in my hot air balloon, I would make sure that I saw exactly what I wanted to see. Back to you, Madam Table Topics.
Awesome. As somebody who's flown in a hot air balloon and been to Paris, not necessarily at the same time, I would highly recommend it. It is so quiet up there, and people will wave up to you and you can wave down at them. But it is amazing. You made me think about Paris again, and that it's amazing that the traffic can be so crazy, but yet it's still that calm peacefulness that you see along the streets. Thank you so much, everybody, for a great Table Topics round. You had amazing answers. I'm going to hand things back to our Toastmaster of the day, Mr. Somesh.
Thank you very much, Kathy, for a very varied set of topics. And it was really personalized as well, which is really good, I think, in terms of people sharing their personal stories here, which is, I think, a great way to connect with people. So thank you very much for those topics. Now we come to the next and the last part of this program, which is the evaluation section. And we have got Teresa doing the double role there in terms of general evaluator and speech evaluator 1. So over to you, Teresa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. And yes, we are moving into the evaluations. My first role is to invite the evaluators. I will evaluate Anvita's speech first. Toastmasters, and especially Anvita. Your purpose was to write a speech with a defined purpose. And your defined purpose was the master secret. And you were to present it in a well-organized speech on this topic. And I believe that it was very well written And it clearly focused, your content clearly focused on your personal story, your fear of water, and your experiences later on in swimming lessons. And then having to speak up in meetings. All of that worked so well together. And Vitha's goal was to meet her expressed purpose statement with a well-executed speech, which I believe she did. Members, if you had looked at her intro on the website, she had written, "What is the master secret of the universe?" which I believe is her purpose statement. And then she said, "Tune in to find out what it is." Now, just raise your hand if you found out what the master secret was. Did you, Kathy, found out the master secret? Okay. All right. And so, Mesh, I see that now. Okay. So, of course, you opened with a question, what is the master secret of the universe? Which was very good. And you used voice changes and vocal variety, all well done. And especially at 16, when you used the word of the day, languid, I thought that was how you worked that in. That was great. And then what we learned was that you did not allow water to master you, segued into your TM Toastmaster story. Now, what I found was that your audio, and I believe it's because you were away from your computer, I found that a little difficult. I had to really listen. It was kind of muffled. And you had some extra hand and arm movements. It seemed some were very purposeful, and I thought that was good. In the ending, I missed the tie up with your opening. I know you explained your mind holds the secret, but can you be more specific and use your expressed personal statement? What is the master secret of the universe? And give us a little pause so that we can say, oh, yes, the master secret is your mind or our minds. And Vitha, this is an excellent speech for you to do a YouTube video for our club. Or if we simply took the clip on your Toastmaster story, it would be a very purposeful, giving people an understanding about, hey, this is her personal experience and how it really can help someone else. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Timer. Our second evaluator this morning is, or this afternoon or this evening, is Somesh, evaluating causal speech on knowledge to power. Please welcome Somesh.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Kaushal. Again, an excellent speech by you. Thank you very much for informing us about this book that we did not know about before. At least I did not know about it before. So from knowledge to power, it's quite an interesting title as well. And when I first saw the title, I was actually thinking it's some kind of personal growth or a self-development kind of topic. But when you actually started talking about it, it came as a surprise. So this was actually a climate change topic. So that was a surprise. I don't know if others would have felt that. So yeah, so I think the title of the speech actually has an influence on what the person is perceiving it to be and what it turns out to be. So there was a surprise element there in terms of actually turning out to be a climate change. And it was really interesting to hear all those terms, and you explained it very nicely, those terms. But they come in the jargon category, I think. So that is the challenge, I think, when we talk about these topics which are really technical. Is there some way we can make this jargon more easily understandable to people? I think that is something maybe you can think of. You know, if you're trying to do this speech again, is there something more you can do? I think you have done quite well in terms of explaining the meaning of each and every word. but is there some metaphor or some kind of simile that you can use in terms of making it more easily understandable? As our theme of today is keep it simple as well. So generally, but it is a very difficult thing to do. I agree. I really agree. If it's some technical topic, there is no way we can avoid the jargon in technical topics. So the biggest challenge in talking about technical topics is how can we explain it, say, to a 5-year-old, and what would I do if I want to explain it to a 5-year-old? So I think maybe you can think about that. So that's a very small suggestion I have. And maybe in the beginning, if when you're starting, you could have probably asked some question about, or you could have made the startling statement about how this climate change is affecting us. So when you do that startling statement, you immediately get that is called the hook generally. When we do a speech, there has to be a hook. So try and think about that as well, I would say, in terms of having a hook in the beginning and then bring back the hook in the end. So these are very two small suggestions, but you have really given us lots and lots of information, and thank you so much for from knowledge to power speech. Finally, I want to conclude by saying one more thing. This is another very important thing here that Kaushal has done very nicely. He has taken the persuasive influence path, and persuasive influence is, as it says, you're trying to influence someone, persuading someone. And this topic about climate change is an excellent topic where we can really, use the persuasive influence and try and make people understand. So this is another great thing. I think whenever we are doing all these paths, I think it's good to try and do it according to what the path title says. So congratulations again, Kaushal, for doing that. So with that, I would like to hand over virtual gavel to General Evaluator Teresa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Somesh, for your very comprehensive evaluation of Kaushal's speech, giving him the glow and the grow points, which are so important. And yes, that speech, your speech, Kaushal, I just wanted to mention that he has said he will put a little book review in the newsletter for November. So hopefully look for that and we will learn a little bit more about the topic. Thank you. Our timer for this morning, this afternoon, this evening is Rosie. Rosie, would you like to give us our times, please?
Sure, thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Okay, we started off the meeting right on time. Amvita, the first speaker, spoke for 7 minutes and 22 seconds. Kaushal, you're a bit over time, but your story is really worth the time. It's 9 minutes and 8 seconds. Table topic, myself 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Anvita 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Kaushal, DTM spoke for 1 minute and 25. Distinguished Toastmaster Somesh 2 minutes and 8 seconds. DTM Teresa 2 minutes and 6 seconds. And for speech evaluation, Teresa, you spoke for 3 minutes and 20 seconds, and Somesh 3 minutes and 25 seconds. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you very
Teresa.
much, Rosianna, for doing the timing. Very much appreciated. For our word languid, I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Did I miss any? So it was a great word for using for today's program. For my evaluation of the meeting, we started fairly on time, a few minutes late, but we needed to get those roles worked on. We did chat a bit about getting our name out there, and Kathy's doing a great job with her posters. Thank you so much, Kathy. But we need more than that. We need to all of us help her make that happen for our club. Having said that, we've had a great meeting. I've learned so much. I loved both of the speeches. Looking forward to Kaushal's book review. And please open the newsletter this month because you will have a special surprise also from Anvita. And I'm not going to tell you what it is, but maybe that will give you, but look, it's November 1st. So we still have a few days. And don't forget, we have that little contest that's going on. If you're going to do the cool as a cucumber story or whatever. I just think it's a little bit more helping us to move forward on our club. And having said that, is there anything for the good of Toastmasters that anyone would like to promote or say? Okay, seeing none, I would then like to look at next week's agenda. If that's a possibility for you, I'll try to bring it up here. Let me see.